Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everybody to the Going Dark podcast. This is actually episode 42. As you can see, this is a solo episode without T-Dog. He's doing big business meetings as usual. But this is episode 42 with a very special guest, Mama K. Thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, this will be good. So yeah, episode 42. We're getting close to that big 50. Very excited for that, and we've had a lot of fun having guests on to make these episodes come out more consistently. They've been a ton of fun for us just to talk to people, and I think we have some really fun conversations. There's actually a lot that I wanted to talk to you about, and a lot that I think the audience will find interesting. You and I had a conversation a couple weeks ago. At a Call of Duty event, and I think that was the first time we've ever really spoke. And we had a conversation about Infinite Warfare zombies. And I want to get into that a little bit, but just for my sake and for the audience, if you wouldn't mind, I just would like you to tell us a little bit about like how you got started doing this kind of stuff and sort of where you came from, because you started at a very unique position in terms of the game that you started and sort of the time. So walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm Mama K. And yes, Infinite Warfare was my first zombies. My boyfriend at the time had an Xbox and he launched Call of Duty, and I saw zombies on there and I was like, yo, zombies, like what is that? I want to play. And I was so bad. Like, I always tell people, like, if you feel like you're bad at zombies, like, there's hope. I couldn't walk and shoot at the same time. So, Infinite Warfare was my first Call of Duty launch. And I'd played games before. I'd played, Halo here and there growing up, like Nintendo, stuff like that. But yeah, Infinite Warfare is where I started. And I remember, like, even getting a headset for my birthday. And that's why I always tell people, like, I'm so graceful with randoms, because like I was that random who probably had no idea what was going on, and they're like, you want to do the Easter egg? I'm like, what's that?
What's
like
that?
what's an Easter egg? And they're like, yeah, the boss fight. I'm like, there's a boss fight. and the aliens. So zombies in Spaceland was my first Call of Duty. That changed everything for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's a really interesting jumping off point for zombies, because like Infinite Warfare is that really interesting bridge between like what BO3 was doing and then what like BO4 was doing, and where the zombies community would change a little bit. So you got introduced to zombies with Spaceland, and that is honestly an excellent start, because I don't know. I really, really like Spaceland. I've actually been thinking about going back to Infinite Warfare Zombies and doing like a big retrospective on that, because I have a lot to say about that game. And I think that Zombies in Spaceland was such a unique experience. I don't think you really... It's hard to compare it to anything else because it is so different. And we, a lot of the zombies conversation revolves around, especially in like, I don't know, particularly in like Cold War, zombies has no personality. All the maps are bland, blah, blah, blah. Literally Infinite Warfare was the opposite of that. Maybe even too much personality at times. They come on very strong.
We had David Hasselhoff, coming down in Neil's arms, and epic soundtracks. And it's funny because I get a lot of flack, and even some of you guys are like, yeah, you're like the modern day zombies. I'm like, well, yeah, sure, and I had no choice, and I constantly think about, like, if I even would have started just 1 year sooner, then I would have started on Black Ops 3. It would have been completely different. But I was getting my master's degree at the time, and I remember I was living in New Jersey, and again launching COD, and I loved it. It was such a great, I don't know, intro experience for me, but those boss fights were hard. I still think Mephistopheles is
I
the
wanted
hardest.
to talk about that. Yep. I wanted to.
It's one of the hardest boss fights ever, and so but I loved it, and like I've played sports all my life, and so it definitely brought in that, like, okay, you guys have to work together to beat these aliens, or like you're in trouble. And then it got a little easier with Raven the Redwoods, but
sure.
Yeah, I spent hours. I was on on Spaceland, so I loved it.
Was it so for you, was it more like the boss fights, or was it the survival elements of it? Like, what was it about zombies that was the it factor for you? Did you enjoy just surviving waves, or did you like doing the Easter eggs, and the boss fights specifically were like your thing? I'm curious.
Well, it definitely was about surviving at first. Like when I talk about me being bad, like I could not walk and shoot at the same time, right? Like think about movement on a controller. I started on Xbox. Now it's funny because I'm on PC, mouse and keyboard. But I would like, move my stick and I would look up. I would move another one and be like, okay, here's how to shoot. And so for me, and like I'm super competitive, like you want to give me I'm obsessed, right? Like, and like I played sports in college all growing up, and so for me it was like continuously getting better. And I had met some people, and I can't even tell you who they are now. But they're like, yeah, it's this YouTuber, and I was like, okay, like I gotta get good, right? But then as I figured out what the Easter egg was, I was like, dude, this is so cool. And I love the boss fights. And there was a few times I learned how to go off the map for the first time.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
So that was fun. I remember playing to like, I don't know. I think it was in like the 600s. And then I'm like, wait, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But I had so much fun. I had so much fun just shooting bots.
Yeah, no, that's great. I wanted to talk about the Mephistopheles boss fight a little bit, because like one of the things that I've always felt was like, well, what we know from the development side of that game, like Lee Ross was like, yeah, basically we poured all of our resources for that final map into the boss. And like I think Beast from Beyond, you can kind of feel that. Like the map itself, in my opinion, it's not great. It's not very good.
It's the worst one.
The inclusions of the extinction cryptids feels a little like shoehorned in. It's not really balanced around that. It's got problems, but the payoff to get to that boss fight is so good, and the fight itself is a like mechanical masterpiece that we haven't seen in COD Zombies ever since. And to be honest with you, I don't think we will. Like I think it's really difficult for them with the way that the game is set up now, and the way the modern mechanics are, to develop a boss that is so intricate yet so learnable at the same time. That is easily the best boss in Zombies. And like I play a lot of Dark Souls. Like I love Elden Ring and stuff like that. And Mephistopheles is a Dark Souls boss. Like
really? Okay.
Definitely. It's like
I always tell people I'm not good enough for Dark Souls. Like,
if you've beat Mephistopheles, that's not true. You could absolutely. I mean, listen, Mephistopheles is actually harder than a lot of Dark Souls bosses, to be honest with you.
That's great. So my first my first Mephistopheles, right? So my first experience, I got carried. But not a lot of people can say this, but I technically beat Mephistopheles on my first try.
Wow. Okay.
Emphasis on the carried. So again, I was playing with a bunch of different people, and there was these group of sweats who just literally kept running it back.
Sure.
And there's definitely like two strats to Meph. Like one, you can kind of sacrifice somebody, or like you can work with the attacks and like rotate around them. They used me as bait. they said you're gonna die a lot. It's okay. Just stand where we tell you. And I'm like, we won? And they're like, yeah.
You're like, wait, it's over? Oh my god. That's really funny.
And I've since I've beat it legit. When I switched to PC, I got director's cut.
Mm-hmm.
And that super Easter egg is also like another topic too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so intense, and I'm like, what just happened? But yeah, I had a good buddy. His name's Lilliman, and he helped me beat it on PC.
I think I know who that is. Yeah.
Yeah, LA.
Mm-hmm.
He's super cracked at IW, but yeah, we hopped on and beat it. But I was like, this is intense, because I can sit here and carry people all day through BO6, but
Sure.
if you were to put me back on IW, I was like, I don't think I would be able to do this. Like, I'm not. I've never tried to solo them though either.
Yeah, I'll say that's probably where a big difference is. The solo experience is definitely a little different. I love As much as like I love Infinite Warfare Zombies on the whole, I do think
Yeah.
some of the maps, I think the maps sort of decrease in quality as it goes on. I'm not a big fan of Attack of the Radioactive Thing or Beast from Beyond. However,
Yeah.
I love the boss fight of Attack. Like the
Huh.
the big crab. I love that. It's so good.
Those
The map itself, I'm a little
lasers were brutal.
yeah. But
Oh,
IW, the thing that they always really got right to me was boss fights, and that's something that Treyarch in recent years, especially with BO6, have gotten a lot better at. The BO6
yeah.
boss fights are, I don't know if they're quite IW level, but they're very good. They're fantastic.
Yeah. And
And
I would love to see an IW2. I don't. Who knows if there's ever the plan for that, but
they were
I
working
don't know
on
if
it. Lee Ross was
really.
talking about that. Yeah, they were working on, they were prototyping an IW Zombies 2 for Modern Warfare 2019. And then the game started to take a, like they decided to go in a direction of a much more realistic tone, and they just decided that Zombies didn't really what Lee Ross is doing, and with how personality filled IW Zombies was, that just didn't really fit the vibe of what they were going for in Modern Warfare, which is
Yeah.
understandable, but it's unfortunate that we didn't get a follow-up to that, because it would have been really neat. And that's
Right.
kind of
And
why
I
he
also
left the
think
studio.
I think that's kind of what detracted, because there's a lot of people who didn't play IW. From people, they're like, yeah, I didn't like the multiplayer. And then they didn't, they're coming off of Black Ops 3 over to cartoon zombies.
Yeah.
And then I'm on the other side where I'm like, oh, like this is neat. Look at the little animations. And then like the following was World War
Yeah,
II.
it's such a whiplash.
I didn't play much of World War II because I was solo queuing and I was scared. I'll admit that. I was like, dude, this is intense. Like,
Wow, talk
so I
about a tonal whiplash from
Yeah.
IW Zombies, the big bombastic silly fun, to World War II Zombies. Everything is scary all the time.
Where's David Hasselhoff? Help me.
Right. That's cool though.
Yeah.
That's great. The before we move on to what I wanted to get into next, I wanted to talk about the super Easter egg of IW really quick, because it is like, I'm curious why you think we don't see stuff like that right now. I mean, we did get a super Easter egg in Cold War. We got like this permanent, purple rarity
Purple
thing
tool,
that
yeah.
it's whatever. But I think the thing with super Easter eggs was that like they were always something that you didn't expect, and I think this really started in Black Ops 2. Like for myself, when I was playing BO2, and I'm like, oh, there's like these weird nav cards in the map, and one in this map links to like buried, and then the buried nav card goes to like transit or something. It's like there started to be this feeling of interconnectedness when
Mhm.
the maps themselves really weren't back in those days. Like they felt very different, but there was this one thread connecting these things. I'm like, oh, this is all like coming together somehow. And the nav cards were on your player character in Mob of the Dead to like make it even more clear. And I was like, that's interesting. And so like
Yeah.
this sense of a grander like interconnectedness, I think, started to happen there. And then in BO3, the super Easter egg is, oh, you get like gate worm icons, and you get an RK5 to spawn in with. Cool.
Yeah.
IW was like, yeah, here's $25,000, all the perks, and you get
Game
like
changer.
and you get the what do you call it, skin? The Pee Wee Herman, what's his name?
Willard
Paul
Weiler.
Rubens, yeah.
Yeah.
Willard Weiler. Yeah, you get the skin for that. And like if you saw somebody in your game that had that skin, you're like, oh, like
And the
they're a real ass
camo and
gamer. Yeah.
Pack Kindles.
Yeah, and the camo. Oh, it's so good. And I'm like, how have we not matched or surpassed that standard yet? It's insane. I mean, BO6 doesn't even have a super Easter egg, as far as we can tell.
Ugh, I hope something's coming, and even like even chatting with my community, I almost wish Rick Toffin was a super Easter egg, because I didn't see the 2 pass coming at all. Like, how cool would it have been, right? And you would have had to change the narration a little bit to
Sure.
fight Sam and then go on to Rick Toffin,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
that could have been really cool, because Rick, he kicked my butt. Like, I finally got him, but right, because when we met, I was like, I haven't even had time to beat Rick Toffin yet. Like,
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting, right? Because we see in Black Ops 6, we have the directed mode that came out. There are so many new players, And so on one side they're like accommodating that. They're like, we see you. And I do, we know the main intent of Directed was to get more people to do the Easter egg.
Sure.
But I do think it's easier to ease people in, like, here are the steps. But on the opposite side, there is the, well, this is easy, but we don't want to make things too easy.
I
And I
agree.
feel like that's why we're not seeing these super Easter egg rewards, even though, like, if you've put in the time and you've done the maps, like, you should be rewarded. So there was a lot of like chatter about, yeah, I want to use my zombie camos in multi, and I'm like, who cares? Like, what? Like, no, I want money. I want perkaholic, And so even with like the chopper gunners are getting nerfed in the boss fights. So I'm like, can we pick like where we're going? Like, I think it should be hard, but at some point you have to mark the line in the sand, right? And I don't know. That's what it seems like to me, is like we don't want to give them too much.
I think I'm curious, like, what you think about directed mode, because I was always a little skeptical of it, just because, like, again, coming from like a classic zombies brain, it's like Easter eggs were this thing that like weren't the main focus, but they were there underneath the surface. Like, even when you discovered Easter eggs in IW, people are like, oh, you want to do the Easter egg? You're like, what the hell is that, right? And it's this, it's this feeling of like there being more to the game that you thought you knew. And I think that's really cool. And Easter eggs, to be honest with you, they don't really use this terminology themselves. Like, Treyarch doesn't really, maybe they do a little bit, but they don't really call them Easter eggs anymore. They're called main quests now.
Main quests,
and that's because like the direction of zombies has changed to like, it's less about like a survival resource management game now. It's more like an action adventure FPS RPG, which is fine. Maybe a main quest is more suitable for that kind of game, but it's like the actual concept of an Easter egg isn't really the same now. And I think the Easter egg quest designs in BO6, like the steps and the balance between having like puzzles but then cool gameplay sequences, has been like brilliant. They've been some of my favorite Easter eggs in the last couple of years, for sure. I mean, at least since the beginning of the modern zombies era with Cold War, they're fantastic. But at the same time, directed mode, I think it waters down what they can really be. Because also, directed mode only goes up to round 15. So it's like, whenever you're hunting an Easter egg that's brand new, in the back of your mind that it's compressed into this little thing that, you know what I mean? Like, it can't. So it feels a little bit, the act of doing and solving Easter eggs feels a little bit cheapened by the fact that, it's compressed into this little tiny, like, bite size, like, walk you through it kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah,
and I would definitely say, and those are the two things that I love about zombies: the hard boss fights, like literally working together with your squad to beat it, and Easter eggs. And kind of like what you were saying, like, there is magic in finding something that wasn't there, like you didn't know before. And it's, when you think about a side Easter egg, like a side quest, like, it's not a quest, right? It's just something
it's just a
hidden.
thing. Yeah.
But I mean, I think, like, and it's interesting too, because if you compare our communities, right, I very much so have the newer age zombie players, and so for me, I really do think they need that. There are people that come in and they're like, I can't survive past, they say level 10.
Yeah. Kevin Drew said that, I think, pretty, like, recently. He was like, I think he was basically saying that one of their motives to make directed mode was that, like, a lot of people can't survive past round 10, and like they apparently they have a lot of data to back that up. Evidently,
I was like, dude, run away, just run away.
Just run.
Put your gun, run away. And so, and it's so fascinating because people will come in and I'll have the Wonder Waff in my hand, iconic, and they're like, what gun is that? and
oh, that hurts.
And so, like, for me, like, my goal is to get more people into Call of Duty and love what I love, right? Because again, it's absolutely changed my life. And I've done beginner series where I'm explaining things at a superficial level, because I do think there's kind of a rough skill gap. Like there's a lot that people don't know. But on the other side, I do wish they would implement a classic mode. Because then that would appease
Okay, okay.
everybody.
Yeah, I want to dig into that a little bit. Because I've actually, so I'm working on a Black Ops 6 like retrospective right now, like a zombies retrospective. And something I really dig at is this classic mode thing, because it's curious to me. I first of all, I think it's interesting to like definitionally talk about what a classic mode is, because you know, a lot of the Twitter discourse and stuff that I see, it's like people just say, oh, if BO6 just had a no armor mode and no weapon rarities, it'd be classic. I'm like, no, not even close. Like not even 1%. You would have to retool. Yeah, give us. Yeah, no, you have to retool.
It on.
It's crazy. It's like you have to retool the whole game from the ground up for it to be classic. So, like, in your opinion, what would it take to be a classic zombies mode? In your opinion,
see,
like, what would they have to change? And you can retool the whole game if you want to, but like, what would you think that would have to look like?
From the discourse that I've seen, I mean, just like you said, people either don't want armor or they want to build it. And I'm like, what? Like, what is the difference? Don't buy armor. People want starter pistols. I'm like, do you want to board up windows? Like, sure, we love the points, but I went back to play, you know, I was on Knocked on BO3, and I'm like sitting in front of a window, boarding it up and shooting zombies. And I'm like, I feel like I'm chained to this window right now, you know, but I
the
feel
map with
like
the slowest spawns ever, by the way.
yeah, you know, but people want, you know, the starting point system back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I've heard that they modified that so it was a little more fair. I mean, to me, I just want the prices to go down in game, right? Like
Of like doors and perks and stuff.
yeah, it's so funny because I've gone back to MWZ, you know, a couple of times, and there's like that nice little discount on perks, and then you get back to Black Ops 6, and you're like, dude, 5,000, 6,000, this sucks. But I don't know. That's what I hear the most. Starter pistols, no armor,
No
or
weapon
perks,
rarities.
you know, and I think like there's so many different things that you can do, like because people are saying zombies is too easy. Well, run a game without Jug, and it's completely different, right? Like I promise you, when you're 100 plus without Jug, you're not gonna say it's too easy. I mean, I don't know. I think it's the nostalgia factor.
I
right?
think that's definitely a part of it. I think the classic mode debate falls on, I think it's nested inside a larger discussion of like what is zombies, and I think that's the kind of the discussion they had at Treyarch when making like Cold War. Like at the beginning of that, they're like coming from Black Ops 4, they're like, okay, what is this mode now? Is this a quest-based mode with survival on the side, or is this a survival resource management game with quests underneath it? And I think it's inverse now. So I think in order to get back to classic zombies, they would have to put the emphasis on the game back on the survival, which they can do, and they can make it fun. A lot of people think like, oh, because like just calling Black Ops 6 round-based zombies wasn't enough for the community to feel like it was classic zombies again. You know what I mean? Like, So clearly there's something else missing there, and I think it's the emphasis on survival that's missing now, and it's little stuff like we have a mini map in BO6, and I've always thought that. I mean, I don't know about you, but once I learn a map, I turn the mini map off. Once I've like learned it and I understand the layout, I turn the mini map off. I don't like it. I think that a beautiful compromise would be the minimap will be on in directed mode, but in normal, no minimap. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I've also noticed that when the minimap is off, almost inherently, you are more like engaged with the actual game. You're not flicking your eyes to the minimap every 10 seconds, you know.
Right,
you're actually paying attention to more details and you feel a little more immersed. I think that's a big part of what made like classic zombies immersive as well. It's other stuff like the ammo boxes in every single room on all the maps. It's like max ammos used to be like a precious thing back in the day. And that was like, oh my God, you know, this beautiful godsend that you got of a resource that you can't easily replace.
Reload before you grab it, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think that is a huge point. The ammo caches, like, but I don't want them to take that away. Like, that's just not something that I want to think about, you
Sure.
know? Because I think like something else that's iconic for me in zombies is having that, that classic moment of training a horde and just spraying them down, right? Like,
Yep.
I don't want to have to worry about if I'm going to run out of ammo. And so like I know shotguns are big in zombies, but I love ARs, right? Because I don't want to have to reload every 2 rounds, right? Like,
Yeah.
some people love the Olympia. I can't stand
Shotguns,
it,
honestly, in like classic zombies, by and large, shotguns kind of suck. Like, yeah, I mean, there are some exceptions. I know people are gonna type like, oh, the KSG and Origin. There are some exceptions, but like, the shotguns are definitely not meta in classic zombies, and I think it's more like what you were saying of training up a horde and then spraying them with like an AR. That was a big thing. But yeah, the
Yeah.
ammo boxes being in every room, and like just little details like zombie health bars, damage numbers, that to me screams more that this is like a FPS RPG than a survival game now. And I think when everyone says they want classic zombies, look, I'm not trying to be antagonistic to them. I kind of agree with them. I would like something more classic feeling, but it's not just about removing armor, removing weapon rarities, and starting with a pistol. There's a lot more to it than that. The other
Right.
thing, and you can tell me what you think
Yeah.
about this, is that um classic zombies I really think was about damage avoidance, because getting hit in that game was really lethal. It only
You're
takes a
done.
couple
Yeah.
times, but the
You're
zombies were a
done.
little less aggressive. And new
Yeah.
zombies is more about like damage mitigation, where it's
Mhm.
about like, oh, what augment do you have on Juggernaut so that you can take less damage when receiving an armored hit? I mean, for God's sake, they have the zombie shield thing as like an augment in BO6 where it like protects your back, but no one uses that
Oh.
because it sucks in
Yeah.
modern zombies, right? Because they all
Yeah.
attack from the front and they attack aggressively. It just
Right.
doesn't work for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think yeah, I mean that's kind of my thought on that situation. Like it's
Yeah,
just
it's just different play styles. And I mean, and the way I look at it is, I mean, I'm on PC, so I know I can go back and play any of the Call of Duties if I want. I know I don't think people on console can do that. I correct me if I'm wrong. I have no clue. But the way I look at it is like, whatever your favorite zombie experience is, go back and play that, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But sometimes I wonder, the world has changed in 15 years, right? People have changed. And so yeah, I think it's really taking a look at like, okay, like, what about this did you like the most? But also, in a perfect world, you're still not going to please everybody,
sure.
you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And as I see like new people coming in, especially like with the open world stuff, I had a conversation with Ben Lewis, and we were talking about Outbreak on Cold War, and how he said for a while it was 50-50 open world and round based. And then after a while, they started to see Outbreak take off. And I'm like, that's wild, because I played Outbreak. I did all the challenges. I did not like it.
Really, really.
I was so bored. Um, I it was very limited in like, okay, well, all your team has to go do this. And then I felt like even with camo grinding, I would have to go chase my zombies. I'm like, this is not zombies. You chase me, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. You're right. You're
you
right. It was a
know,
very different approach where zombies was about like you're on defense, and it was a
yeah,
very fundamental shift of an Outbreak like you're on the offense now, and it was
yeah,
different. I will say
right.
maybe I'm weird. I actually really liked Outbreak, and I think
Really?
I liked it for weird reasons. I really enjoyed like pushing the boundaries of it. Like I liked to go to like wave 20 on there, which was basically what round 100 in round based is. I like to go to like wave 20 and then do like the Legion boss fight. It was like,
Oh, golly.
stuff like that, just pushing the boundaries of the
Legion.
game was really fun to me. So I have
Yeah.
a soft spot for Outbreak, even though it's like I have my criticisms of that too. But it is interesting
Yeah.
that they said, but that's the other thing, right? Is they told us that I mean, not only did Outbreak apparently perform exceptionally well, but also like Liberty Falls was the most played map ever, apparently.
Yeah. So I would love, and it's interesting, and I've heard a lot of people talk about like, well, okay, people were playing offline back in the day, so maybe the data skewed. but I 100% I think it's the camo grind.
Yep, me
And
too.
I think
Me too.
we all know that, but I mean Liberty Falls is such a simple map, and it is ironic how much hate Liberty Falls got at COD Next, and now it's the most played map. But like it's easy to launch up.
Yeah.
Like even comparing Liberty Falls and Terminus, like if I'm using like a really awful gun, even just opening up pack on Terminus is annoying, right? So when you can pick the two, I did my camo grind on Liberty. So
Yeah. I think
you know,
you're completely right. I think
yeah.
the camo grinding on Liberty Falls was literally the reason those numbers were inflated. And like what I want to take from that, or what I hope Treyarch takes from that, is like, I think that's great. You can have a map like that, but just because Liberty Falls succeeded like numerically and with these metrics, that doesn't mean make every map Liberty Falls, because it's got a place in the game, which is, you know, the very casual, like easy to camo grind map. I mean, we had a similar dynamic in BO3. Like before any DLC, I technically it was a pre-order bonus, but you know, whatever. It was like in BO3 we had the dynamic of Shadows of Evil, which was the more intricate, complex map. That took a lot of learning, especially in the beginning, and then the Giant is literally a Doris remake. You just very easy, just jump on and shoot zombies. That's literally the whole thing. And so, like, having that balance is great. And I think they try to do a similar thing here. But, yeah, I'm just like, I don't want them to look at the data and be like, okay, every map now has to be Liberty Falls. Because
I agree. But one of the things I think I do like about BO6 is that even if all the maps are different. I love that all the maps, boss fights, you know, they progressively got harder. And it's so interesting too, because I think Tomb kind of emulated Liberty Falls in the sense that it's a big circle with the dark ether in the core, but for some reason people don't like the Tomb.
Yeah, why is that, you think? Is it because of the monstrous expectations we had for it, like coming off of Terminus and Citadel?
You know, I don't know. Like, I love the middle dark ether area. And the Staff of Ice, in my opinion, is probably the most overpowered wonder weapon in Black Ops 6. I mean, when I'm playing, right, I'm either helping people with the boss fights or camo grinding. And like the constant level changes, I think, in the Tomb just are not great.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, fix your aim, right? Hit your headshots. But like when you're at an incline, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's so simple, but then like you have, again, like, and this just shows you have people everywhere. People are coming in and they're like, well, I don't have the artifact, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, just open up the door to nowhere. And they're like, but I didn't do Citadel, and I'm like, it doesn't matter.
No, it's like
yeah. You know, so like there's such a spectrum of people too.
That's
like,
so interesting.
What do you do? Yeah, it's I wish
it always comes down to like how accessible they want the game to be. And people think that this is just like a conversation that we've been having in the last like couple of years, but they've been having discussions about like how accessible or hard zombies should be since like Black Ops 2. I mean, like there were people in Treyarch like pushing for zombies to be way easier, even as far as back as BO2. I think it's curious to me that I think one of my criticisms of BO6 zombies maps is that unfortunately, and this is something I really noticed playing like more Black Ops 1 and 2 recently, is that there was usually always a different problem and solution for even just Pack-a-Punch. So like Doris, for example, it's beautifully set up where you spawn in, the Pack-a-Punch machine's right there, but it's locked. And then, you know, as you start to explore, you turn on like a thing and you're like, oh, that has a timer. You link it back intuitively. You go, okay, there must be two more because it comes down a little bit. Problem and solution. Brilliant. Or in Mob of the Dead, it's like you get a laundry part, right? Or you get some kind of other mechanism and you go, oh, I just built this plane. What does this do? You fly to the Golden Gate Bridge and the Pack-a-Punch machine is there. Very different problem to solve than what Doris had, but still rewards you for doing that. I feel one of the criticisms I have with BO6, but again, maybe what you said, or it's like there's all kinds of people that even now don't get that part, is like if there's literally objective markers that say, hey, click on this thing and go to the door to nowhere. Like, and the artifact
still don't know. no. Or like Shattered Veil, where you have to kill the electrician
Yeah.
to get the part.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they're like, where is that? You know, and like we'll literally make videos so you have people, it's on the screen and they have no idea. And so I think it's really, they have to take a look at, what is your goal? Do you want more people? Do you want more people doing the Easter egg? Like, what defines success in modern day zombies?
You're completely right. Yeah,
You
completely
know?
right. I thought about this too. I was like, and I think I told Kevin Drew this. I was saying that, like, I'm really happy for them that Liberty Falls is an incredible success. I think that's great. Like, I'm glad more people are playing zombies. That's amazing. I think that, however, there, to me, the depth at which some of these maps reach are not quite what I would like. And I think for a lot of the zombies community, it's the same thing, where it's like Liberty Falls, yeah, a billion people played that map, but like how many people had their lives changed by Liberty Falls? I'm gonna say probably not very many. Mob of the Dead,
Right.
Mob of the Dead literally changed my life. You know how you talked about Infinite
Yeah.
Warfare changed your life.
Mhm.
There are maps that like changed us as people, and I don't think we really get those anymore. We get really consistently good maps,
Mhm.
but nothing that is like earth shattering or like
Epic,
personality
right.
changing, you know?
Yeah.
So you're completely right. It's like, what is your goal? Do you want the most people playing it, or do you want a map that's like going to change someone's life? But it may not be for
Right.
everybody. That's the flip side to that.
Yeah. Well, and what was your thoughts on Modern Warfare zombies?
Ooh, we could get into this. I was okay. So, did you play MWZ at Treyarch like before release?
No, it wasn't cool. No, I just started linking up.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I
My first trip was in May to Activision.
Gotcha. Okay. So the reason I bring that playtest up is because like I played Modern Warfare Zombies one time at Treyarch before release, and it was like I think one of the problems is they didn't do a justice explaining it. I mean, it's a hard task because that mode is difficult to explain without having experienced it. But I played the mode, and we only did one match, and we weren't allowed to look at the schematics or, you know, any of that kind of stuff. So I played one match, and I'm like, I don't really get it. I was like, like, this doesn't make sense to me.
What's
like,
a
it's just kind of,
schematic?
yeah, it was just kind of lame. I was like, I don't know. I just didn't get the gameplay loop.
Yeah.
But when I played it at home, and then I finally started like being able to unlock schematics and drop in with like different things that I, you know, acquired in the last match, that's when it started to make sense. But if you just play one match and you're done with it and you don't do the schematics at all, none of that makes sense. And the gameplay loop is really like hollow then. So I was like, I don't get it when I played it there.
You're like, what do I do?
100%. And I played it at home, and I'm like, wait, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I started to actually really like MWZ, and especially the end, like the finale, that boss fight, the entity. So many people have not played that, and it's so good. Like,
yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So, fun fact, this is so weird. I was the first person in the world to complete all 3 contracts in that Dark Ether and fight the entity.
No way, really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's so weird because
that's so cool.
The time limit was crazy. And who was it? I had a couple of people. I think no, I don't even want to misname people, but I was checking. I was like, has anybody done this? Like, what is the route? Like, because I was running out of time. I was like, I can't even go get what I need to. And so I was like, I had to be very strategic about, all right, let me grab these contracts. Let me get to the boss fight. And I knew as soon as I got to the entity, it was fine. We were rocking out with a crossbow. It was so much fun, but you know, I loved it. And a lot of my community, I would say my current community, I met on Modern Warfare Zombies. So for a lot of them, that was their first experience to Call of Duty.
That's so interesting.
Zombies. And yeah, and that's why I kind of brought it up with like the life changing, because I have a core group. They still play MWZ. Some of them played BO6 once, and
said, not for me.
Yep. And
whoa.
Yeah, and I was like, no, like, please give it a chance, right? You can love both. And so what I really liked about MWZ was the different tiers. I think again, it's as easy or as hard as you want to make it, and so
Hmm.
I like that fast-paced nature of tier 3, so I could jump in right away. And you definitely couldn't survive when we first got in, right? There's
Yep.
no way you're kicking butt with a green tool, you know. Um, and that's really where I started doing the beginner stuff because I started noticing these basic questions like what is this, you know. And I loved all the dark ethers. I think they were cool, and I liked the variability. I thought that was a nice pace. So we still had the boss fights, but then you could go do contracts. If, you know, someone else wanted to go clear stronghold, they could. If they wanted to go do the little merc boss, they could. And so
Hmm.
I like the variety, and it's so fascinating because, and again, I like that open world and the round base, but people would come in and they're like, I miss round base. Like, how do you not get bored in open world? And I'm like, dog, in round base you're running in a circle, and then the round changes. Like, you want to, if you want to say which one's more boring, you know,
Hmm.
just
Hmm. No, no,
played
yeah,
it.
I understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
very interesting. It's like I am trying to put myself in the shoes of people who like start in MWZ. What their response would be to older zombie games. So I'm curious, like because you started in Infinite Warfare. You know, a lot of people would say that you're like a new gen player. I don't think I would say that though. Like Infinite Warfare, I think a lot of people still consider that in the classic era. I mean, I do at least. Have you gone back and played a lot of the games pre IW or?
Yeah. So I used to have a throwback Thursday,
Mhm.
and I did it probably for a couple of months. I didn't know, and it's funny. Pizza actually told me about the patch for BO3.
Yeah.
But I was getting booted offline, and so for me, like trying to go back and play some of those old maps, it wasn't fun because, like, I remember trying to play Origins, and my buddy and I were almost, you know, towards the end, and we were getting spammed with friend requests. Um, and the dialogue box kept popping up, and you had to click it to dismiss it. Like you couldn't, there was no way to avoid it,
Sure.
and we died. And then I would try to go again, and I'd get kicked back to the lobby. Like GK, I've never played that map. I
Whoa.
literally I could not get out. And like, this is me not knowing, you know, that there are issues. And I've heard like of stuff targeting streamers, and but yeah, I remember launching GK, um and I would like run for 5 seconds and then bam, back to the lobby. Started up, bam, back to the lobby. And I was like, why would I even try? But you know, I've had my friend LA, right? We've done the Eisendrock Easter egg. I've done Moon, ZNS,
Very
um,
nice. Very
so
nice.
bunch of random ones. The ones where we needed 4 PC players, so like Shadows of Evil, I've never
Oh
done
yeah. Hmm.
those. Um, so I've gotten around on each of most of the maps. Um,
It just
I
stinks that you
do,
have your experience tainted by losers that
yeah,
you know that because it's I
yeah.
don't know. It's a very special game to myself and a lot of people, and like we like to see somebody experience that magic for the first time too. I mean, normal people
Well,
do, but
and you know what's fascinating? So I don't know if you remember, either last week or the week before, like Call of Duty servers went offline.
yeah,
So I was on BO6 at the time, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? And so I was able to get BO3 to work offline. And I'm like, you know what? Like, let's just go see, let's go run around and do whatever. So I I jump on Revelations, and I don't think I've ever played that map. And I'm sure that's probably wild for you to hear, right? And so um I'm like, oh, like look at it, look at everything. And people are in my chat, and they're like, go to the thing behind the thing. And I'm like, dog, what? Like, you don't make zombie guides, you suck. No. And then other people are commenting like, oh, this is so painful to watch. And I'm like, this is my first experience on the map. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing, you know. And so should have watched a guide or something. But
No,
like,
that's a map that you kind of want to experience for the first time, but also Revelation specifically, I can understand why that would be jarring because that map is
yeah,
so like self-referential that that's what the map is. Like the map is references to older zombie maps. So
yeah,
if those are not things that you're already familiar with, then it's like gonna double not make sense. But like people should be
yeah,
open to like seeing your first reaction to these things instead of like,
right,
you know, criticizing
yeah.
that because we were all there at one point. Um,
Right. And there's a lot that I haven't done, and I mean, I'm good at modern zombies, right? But it's just, yeah, going back to some of that stuff, like, sure, I would love to, when I played before, I loved those experiences. Like Eisendrach was sick. I really enjoyed that. And so I think a lot of the hate that I get is they think if you didn't start with BO2, BO3, then you're not legit. And so sometimes I make the joke, I'm like, how did I hack it this far, right? Like without getting crucified by the zombies
nah,
community.
but
And
the thing
it's,
is though, it's always been that way. Like,
yeah,
and I started in World at War. That was my first zombie game. Like I've been there since the beginning. But and I say that to bring up that I have seen this discussion even before BO3. Like BO2 comes out and people are going, "Oh, this new crap sucks. You know, if you didn't start in World at War, like you don't get it." You know,
yeah,
that's been a thing like forever. But now the goalposts have moved a little bit, where it's like if you
yeah,
didn't start in BO3, then you're not an OG. When like that was the new stuff for a while. When
yeah,
World at War players were like, "What is this stuff?" So it's like
yeah.
I've seen
One
it
year
move.
off, right? It's just 1 year,
Nah,
but
but I think IW still, in my opinion, falls under the guise of the classics. I mean, um,
yeah.
but
I
yeah,
I
I think
loved it. I mean, still hard, right? Because
sure.
and I do agree, like zombies is definitely getting easier, right? Even if you look at how many hits you can tank on BO6 versus Cold War,
Yep.
like Cold War, I was like, oh, okay, like I gotta play a little smarter here,
Yep.
and it's not like I don't want to go play the old CODs because I do think there's history there, right? And I think I have so much respect for whatever is Call of Duty's, whatever your favorite COD title is. Like I respect that, right? Because they all mean something different to everybody, and we're all here because of that one game.
Yep.
And I'm just thinking like, damn, like Treyarch must be so proud, like 15 years later and people still don't stop talking about it. Like, and so
That's a great point, and that's
that's
what
W.
I mentioned. I think in one of my recent videos, I was saying that like the whole reason the zombies community is still alive is because we're still talking to each other. We're still having discussions about things. We even if the discussions get out of hand sometimes, but like
Yeah.
our discussions, what games are better, what maps are better, all this stuff. My fear with modern zombies, and maybe it's a bit more abstract right now, and maybe it's not quite as dramatic as it feels to me, but I think my problem with some of the more recent maps is that because they're making like maps to fit systems they've made, like weapon rarity, armor, all that stuff. They're making maps to fit around that. When in classic zombies they made maps to fit systems, or I'm sorry, systems to fit maps, and
Mhm.
the experience could vary widely. Like I don't know if you've played Transit on Black Ops 2, but that plays so different to Mob of the Dead. Like they're not
Yeah.
even the same game at that point. And it's that kind of like contrast that allows us to have these discussions about this kind of thing, where if all of
Mhm.
the maps are more or less the same, I mean, on BO6 I think all the maps of BO6 are consistently pretty good. And there's a couple
Mhm.
standouts like Terminus and Citadel I really love. Great maps.
Mhm.
And even the Tomb, even though it's not people's favorite, I wouldn't call that a bad map because it's still
Yeah.
fundamentally the systems of all the other ones. It's just
Mhm.
not for everybody. Or like Liberty Falls, it's
Right.
fine, but it's maybe not for everybody. Um, but my fear is that if there's this homogeneity between the maps forever, then there will be less discussion to be had, and then that would be the death of the zombies community, is when we stop talking to each other. But as long as people are still talking about it, then they have every right to be proud and should continue
Mhm.
to like foster that conversation,
Yeah, and I'm anxious to see. I mean, as we've started to get some of the teasers for Black Ops 7,
Yep.
I think I'm anxious to see what they bring in from BO2, right? I know there's a lot of hype right now, and people are talking about Ascension coming back, and I loved Ascension, right? I That was probably like the map that I had the most experience on when I was doing kind of my throwback stuff.
Did you play that on
Trans
BO3 mostly or BO1? Out of curiosity.
BO3.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I think I have BO1. I'd have to check. I think I have all the titles. But and like you had kind of mentioned transit, I need to do my homework. I've been on transit a couple times, but
It's rough.
we don't want to talk about how far I made it.
It's rough. It's rough map. Like
like, where am I supposed to grab these parts from? Oh shoot, I'm dead.
yeah, it's real rough, and that's like but I think that's part of the charm, or that's why people talk about it, is because it's so scuffed. Like that's why that map is iconic. But
they're like, hit the bus driver. I'm like, no.
yeah, no, absolutely not.
I'm smarter than that. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, like, when your chat is setting you up for some troll stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I'm curious because I actually wanted to pick your brain about the BO7 stuff recently too, because the trailer came out the other day. The thing that I found really interesting about so it's not Primus coming back. Everyone says like, oh, Primus is back. It's not Primus. It's not even Ultimus. It's 4 of the original cast. But the curious part is every time we've gotten them back, they've all been at least from the same time period. In this version, they're all from vastly different time periods.
Yeah.
Which what do you think about that as far as
I'm anxious to see how they're going to interact. I have no idea, and even in the blog they didn't give us much, because I think they want us to learn about each other's stories, and right, there was that little blurb about Dempsey being the wild card, and this is also for point of reference, this is my first time playing with the OG crew, right? Again, 3rd iteration, but again, not having that experience of them before. So I'm anxious to see how it plays out, and part of me is like, okay, logically, like, are these people supposed to get along? Like
that's always the thing, right?
Like,
that was always the thing with their dynamic, is do they get along?
Yeah.
Are they friends? Kind of, not really, but then they are sort of, like,
right.
That was what made them interesting, is like it's these people that I don't know if you watched my I made a COD Zombies movie. Like, I made a whole movie, the whole storyline.
It's on my list, actually, because someone sent it to me, and I was like, I have been meaning to watch this, but I just don't watch a lot of stuff, right? I'm either gaming or streaming. No, your video is totally on my list, because I think like
you don't have to do that. I appreciate it, but
no, for sure, because I think like there is so much to the story, and I'm like, okay, where were we? Where are we going? And there's so much to it, and like, I even saw something on Twitter, something silly, and they're like, they don't have souls. Like, how is this man stealing their souls or their essence? And I'm like, listen.
You're like,
what? Listen, and Treyarch is telling us like, yeah, the story's gonna get even crazier, and I'm like, what? Who's this guy?
yeah. We talk about that too. But the thing with the Zombies movie that I made was like, I think what really resonates in that story is like these people that should have never ever been friends, and where they end up at the end is very interesting. I won't like spoil anything or give any details. I think that's something just to be experienced, but like where they started versus how they ended up, it's like one of those things. It's like an impossible situation that should have never worked, and you see where it goes, and you're like, wow, that was really something. It will be interesting if they can recapture that dynamic, but not only with the original cast, but with the new Dark Ether crew. If you can make that dynamic between 8 people instead of 4, that's really hard from a writing standpoint. Like, that's very difficult. But if they can do it, like, I'll be satisfied. I have been a little bit let down with the story direction in BO6. Like, the story to me kind of stinks in this game. Like, Cold War had,
does that oomph,
they do a lot of things that I won't even get into it, but they like reconnecting the Chaos storyline to the Dark Ether, like that was a crazy move, but I don't know if they knew how to handle the gravity of that. But the BO6 story kind of stinks. That's my point.
Yeah.
But I think they have the opportunity to pick it back up and make it more interesting in BO7, especially with like now we've seen the Shadowsmith. But by the way, like, you know, a lot of people are like, who the hell is this guy? I think the Shadowsmith is basically like not a shapeshifter, but I don't know if you want to contextualize it more as like a skinwalker. I think he's like a spirit, but I think he like is currently embodying someone from Liberty Falls. I forget what his name is, but I think he's embodying I think his name's on a gravestone somewhere outside the church. But I think he has his body. I think that's why he looks like that. But I think the Shadowsmith himself is more of like a more abstract entity. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. But that's interesting to me because now I'm thinking about that, and, you know.
Well, and then when I heard his voice, I was like, is this the same person that took Dr. Jansen into the Dark Ether? You know, and I'm just like, but you know what? There's so much to it, and I can't even comment on OG lore because, again, if we want to talk about people crucifying me, like they'll be like, how does this woman not know? And I just think it's a lot, and yeah, I think it used to be way more complex than what it is now, and I think sometimes we're missing that substance of, okay, here's this part and here's how it connects, but like here's a little bit more rather than just saying like, yeah, this connects.
Yeah, yeah, it's a show don't tell.
And I'm anxious to see where they go. I think one of the things I've kind of thought about with the 8-man dedicated crew is, you know, people are saying like, if you're not playing with the Dark Ether crew, like get out of here. But I'm like, but how are you getting that story? Like, do we need to have a mix of the BO6 operators and a mix of the BO7? You know, and it's going to be interesting to see what those dynamics are. Like, where are we going to get the most out of that in terms of those lines?
Like interactions of what an optimal match should look like. Well, maybe they're approaching it from a way where it's like, ideally, you'll play it multiple times with different characters to get a mix of interactions, you know, things like that.
Right.
That could be kind of cool.
Yeah, because it's fascinating. Like, even just loading in, like, even just using the Reckoning, right, is the most recent map, playing the different characters and just those different audio cues. I'm like, wait a second, that's not what someone else just said.
Sure.
And that was my whole thing too. When we were at Treyarch, I was like, where's Samantha Maxis? Like, there's no way you killed her in a voice line.
No.
You know, but even going back to Terminus, right? AI Sam was like, she was ripped to shreds in the Dark Ether. And I'm like, I don't believe that.
I don't believe you.
Yeah,
it's like, I don't know if I don't believe you. Not maybe like from the perspective of the story, but I'm like, did y'all just kill her off because like Julie quit, or like, is that what we're doing? Like, I don't know.
Right, and who knows how much was impacted by like the strike, you know, that's now over.
All the other voice actors quit, which is why they don't speak at all in the later cutscenes, like Shattered Veil, The Tomb, even Reckoning, kind of. Like, none of them talk, which it just leads to really awkward, like, unimpactful cutscenes. It's because, like, most of them quit. So
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
It's like, I don't know what they do with that, but I don't know. I think they have a unique opportunity to tell a story between 8 like characters that we haven't seen before, and they could do that in a special way if handled properly. I just am skeptical given how they've handled it in BO6 thus far. My whole thing with BO6 is that, like, from a big picture perspective, I really love the gameplay. Like, Black Ops 6 has been the most fun I've had in zombies in a very long time, to be honest. Like, it's great. I love it, but it's missing that storytelling that made zombies so special. That isn't there in its current form. And I don't know if it's an issue with, like, I think there's a few things going on. I think that the people writing the story and the people making the gameplay and the maps aren't really talking to each other. So there's not a whole lot of cohesion between what's going on in the story and what's happening in the gameplay. When in the first, like, Call of Duty event I ever went to was actually a Black Ops 3 event. It was for Revelations, actually. And we're all down in this little thing, and Blundell, it's a very small room. Blundell shows us this, like, the trailer for Revelations. And, you know, instead of, like, them talking about, like, the gameplay stuff, the whole time is spent setting up the story and like what's going on in the story, which like we don't really get that when we go to Treyarch. It's like they spend a lot of time setting up the gameplay stuff, which is great. You know, the gameplay is very solid, but the point is like I don't think there's a whole lot of cohesion with what's happening in the story versus what they're doing with the gameplay to make those things kind of like connected. But
yeah, I mean, one example, not necessarily story based, that we even saw was there was this side quest to do Mr. Peaks to get the ether blade.
yeah,
and
right.
that wasn't even there at launch, and I was like, I was so excited.
Not only was it not
just...
there at launch, but you know, I was traveling and I missed the the 90s action hero event or whatever to unlock Mr. Peaks. And I get back home and I'm like, okay, I couldn't unlock Mr. Peaks. He was not in the armory, and it said unlocked in the event. They just recently changed it like 2 days ago, so you can unlock him now. But for like a week, I was like, that's lame. You just can't get him.
Yeah. Guess he's gone. You didn't catch him fast enough.
Yeah, apparently. I was like, that really stinks.
Yeah. I'm hoping though that from that presentation that we went to, it sounds like they did hear a lot of the feedback from Black Ops 6. So
yeah,
you know, I hope they're able to implement it. But something else that I was kind of, you know, lolling around the other day is a would you rather, right?
Okay.
So they talked about working in tandem on BO6 and BO7. Would you rather have consecutive Treyarch titles working back to back on zombies, or would you rather have more time for them to work on another game down the line and either non-zombies or non-Treyarch zombie, you know?
Yeah,
no zombies are non-Treyarch zombies.
I have an answer for you. I want to hear what your take is though before I say mine. I'm curious what you think.
Again, listen, I love zombies. I don't care who makes it. I loved Modern Warfare Zombies. Right? I think that was Sledgehammer.
Yep. Well, Treyarch's involvement with Sledgehammer.
You know, IW was my favorite. I'm flexible. But that's interesting because again, my favorite title is not Treyarch.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I think. No, go ahead.
I would definitely rather have zombies than no zombies for sure, right?
Mm-hmm. I think where I fall on this is I personally I don't know if it's a good idea to do 2 games of the same sub-series back to back. And again, maybe this is just the time period that I was playing Call of Duty. Is like the formula that we really got used to was like the Treyarch IW on and off years until Sledgehammer got introduced, and then it became a 3-year dev cycle. But the upside to that, I think, was that, okay, Black Ops 2 comes out, right? That we experience BO2. And then we wait another year after BO2 Ghost comes out. No zombies on that. That's for a totally different group of people. I don't really like Ghost at all. I don't like that game. It's not for me.
Yeah, I've never played that one, but I've heard that people weren't a fan.
It's one of my least favorite CODs. But it's for somebody out there. There's like a real cult following for Ghost. That's just not for me. But after Ghost was Advanced Warfare. That wasn't Treyarch, that was Sledgehammer, but it had like exo zombies in it. They were doing like a little weird thing over there. But then during Advanced Warfare, the discussion started to be, oh my God, what's Treyarch going to do next? Like what's coming, right? And then BO3 comes out, and it's wildly different than BO2. And it's this new thing, and then BO3 became what it was because I think they had so much time to look at what worked in the past and push innovation going forward, and they made the game really different to Black Ops 2. I think the downside is when you're making these games at the same time is that, and I know this, and I'm sure you know this too from like even just when it comes to like editing or making something, if you're making things around the same time, they're going to be similar just because like your headspace occupies the same kind of creative. There's going to be some differences for sure, but like they're making these games back to back. They're going to be utilizing the same things, mechanics, in all of the but also, and I think you also lose the impact of, oh my God, what's Treyarch going to do next? What are they going to drop next?
The surprise element.
What's this going to... The longer you wait for it and you don't have it, the more you anticipate it coming back, and it hits like a train when it does. And I think Activision's strategy of like double dipping games, now I don't think it's a good idea personally. If I was in charge, I wouldn't be doing that. I'd be like, okay, Treyarch, everything you can make in this, I don't know, 4-year time span, whatever, 3 years, whatever, do what you can. That will be your game. We'll come back to you in 3 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And
To be a fly on the wall in those meetings, right?
No, exactly. I would love to know what they think, but yeah, that's my thought is like, and I think the breaks in Zombies, I've always noticed something interesting in the downtime, right? You talk about the moments, the years where we don't have any zombies at all. I think what tends to happen in the downtime is that a lot of like nostalgic content starts to become more popular and sought after again. People start going back to the classics, and there's this itch for zombies that's always there. Yeah, and people start going back to older titles and like rekindling their love for zombies again. And then when it comes back around, when there's a new game, that's part of why it hits again, is because like, oh, I got refamiliarized with all of these older titles, and then this new one comes out and it's like hits crazy. That would be my approach if I were in charge. Of course I'm not. I can only say what I think, but that's kind of where I fall on that.
Yeah. And it's so interesting too, talking about going back to some of the older ones, and I genuinely like love Call of Duty, and so some people are like, yeah, right, and I jokingly, I'm like, I'm the COD queen, brother, because I play all of it. And so when Vanguard was an abomination, that is the worst one that I've played. When I literally say I was so bored.
We had a Sledgehammer dev. Sorry, not to cut you off. We had a Sledgehammer dev on here a couple weeks ago, and he's like, I brought something up on Vanguard, and he was like, he had no idea what I was talking about. He's like, we don't talk about Vanguard.
No, see, they know, right?
Yeah, they know.
I suppose it could have had potential, I mean, they brought in Shino, and I was like, I don't like this map. I don't
really.
Know
I thought Shino Numa, in terms of what Vanguard had to offer, was the best offering on that game, even though it wasn't great still. But like Shino Numa was just the bubble of Vanguard Zombie specifically. The only thing I would play is Shino Numa.
The bright light. I didn't. I guess I just, as a classic map, I don't like Shino, but yeah. So like that pushed me to Warzone.
Whoa, okay.
So I play, and it's ironic, right? When I take a look at my Call of Duty journey and like where I am, and I remember telling this to somebody at the time, but at one point I wanted to be a part of like a zombies content team, and this was in Vanguard, who I think came in off of Modern Warfare 2019. Modern Warfare 2019 didn't have zombies. What was I doing? I was sniping on Search and Destroy. And so it was so funny because they're like, well, we don't really think you're serious about zombies. So, and I'm like, wait, what? Because I played Search and Destroy when there was no zombies, and so
that's so
fascinating. Weird. Yeah, and so like even looking at Black Ops 6, like I have all the camos. I have all 3 mastery camos. I've only done like all the calling cards and stuff on zombies, but like I still love playing multi. Like I'm super excited for the campaign on BO7 and learning more about endgame. I loved DMZ. So it's just interesting, for me though, like I would rather have at least something of zombies. And I don't know, I also think in a perfect world that they'll do round based and open world, but what do you do?
I would concur with that. I think that's kind of why Cold War worked for me. I mean, I just remember when Cold War was happening, in that year, a lot of people didn't like Cold War. That was their like exodus from zombies. But I was like, in a way, I kind of get it. But also I was like, I think this game works, especially with Outbreak, because like there is kind of something for everybody. That's why I thought BO2 worked, because Transit and Origins are so different. They're worlds apart, but there's kind of something for everybody in there. You may not like all of the experiences it has to offer, but you might find something. It's like a toy box with wildly different stuff. You might find something that works for you, And I think
go ahead.
I was just going to say that, like, and again, if I were in charge in my perfect world, I would be scaling like modern zombies, new zombies. I would be scaling that more to what like classic zombies feels like, and if I can use that terminology. And I would also have like some like newer approach to like open world stuff, like additionally
Yeah.
on the site, they wouldn't like not necessarily competing with each other, but those experiences are both there on the same game because not everybody's going to like both things, but there will be
Yeah.
something for everybody. There'll be people
Right.
that
And
love classic zombies. There'll be the people that love the
yeah.
open world stuff. Like,
And get them on the game, right? Like,
yeah.
to me, I imagine like that's what you want, right? You want people spending time and investing in your game, and like that's another thing I'm hyped about for BO7 is they're bringing back the weekly challenges. Like you are literally giving people a reason to play the game, and so yeah, having something for everybody is important. And I think once Vanguard came out, people are like, you know what? We had it pretty good on Cold War. We just didn't understand
Mm-hmm.
it at the time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
It's
I hope they have some surprises for BO7. I have no idea where it's going.
yeah.
I have no idea. Even thinking past Ashes of the Damned, like what's next after that? I don't know.
Yeah. That's always the exciting part of zombies, which
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to with BO7 as well. Well, I mean, I think we should wrap this up by. I'll just ask you a few. I'll take the place of T-Dog. He likes to ask our guests like just some lightning questions, just some real quick, just some quick top of your mind things. Favorite zombies map ever?
Zombies in Spaceland.
Spaceland, still the GOAT?
Yeah. And again, it just like and I don't even know if that's my favorite one, right? But like that is always my answer, because that's what I started out, and again, just it literally changed my life, right?
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
to think that I am a full-time Call of Duty Zombies content creator like blows my mind. Like never, and like I said earlier, I have my master's degree. I used to work in higher ed. I got laid off during COVID, and I kind of took a job to fill time, and then I got into streaming, and I'm like, I love this so much, and that's truly where my passion is I always made the joke, Mr. Raffle Waffles Milo was my first Easter egg guide that I watched, and so it really means a lot to be able to take my passion for zombies and help other people, because again, I want people to see how much fun it is. And yeah.
That's
Spaceland,
great pick.
If we're given a throwback though, like I said earlier, I was on Ascension a lot. I enjoyed it. I lost a lot of perks.
the monkeys.
I was like, what do I do?
Yeah, that is something. In BO3, it's kind of because if you're playing it in BO3, you can do the thing where like if you have the nuke gobblegum, you can pop that and all the monkeys die. It's a really good way to keep them off your perks. In BO1, you don't really have that luxury, so it's kind of just like figure it out. So it could be rough in there, but yeah, those damn monkeys. All right, least favorite zombies map.
Probably Shino.
On Vanguard. Or just in general.
Yeah. I mean, I played it on BO3. And so isn't there like a muddy area kind of where you're just like a little slower?
Yeah, there's a lot of like swamp sections in the respective like areas. Not for you.
Yeah, and again, like and I probably just upset Kevin, little Kevin. I'm sorry. I use Kevin for every name. I'm not talking about Kevin Drew. Little Timmy probably just got upset because she knows probably the best map ever, but I don't know.
For the record, I don't think it is either. I mean, Shino was fine. It's not one of my favorite, but it's like I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I think it made sense more like if you've not played it in World at War, then especially like the BO3 remake is fine. But it's a little. I think the thing with World at War was like each map was trying to like go for something really different, and Shinonuma was the first map to take it out of confined space. So there's going to be some growing pains with that, right? Like not all of Shinonuma really works. I mean, it was a good stepping stone, and it was the first map to introduce like a special zombie round, like with dogs. So that was cool. But
and I remember playing, Noct and Verruct. But yeah, I definitely need to get back to some of those. But again, I think I just, what's the easiest thing to do is find someone who knows what they're doing and be like, hey, come teach me,
Yeah, yeah.
that way people are like, this is embarrassing, and then you've got the other people that are like, when are you going back to Black Ops 6? So I'm like, okay, I can't wait for losing.
Yeah, I hear you. That's funny. Oh, this is a curious one that I want to ask. Favorite
Yeah.
Easter egg quest?
I'm like, does Mephistopheles count? Like, my brain immediately went to him.
I would say that that's favorite like boss fight. I would
Yeah.
unless you're talking about the process to get to Mephistopheles in Beast from Beyond.
Completing the Easter egg quest in Beast. Yeah. I'm trying to think.
There's a lot of good ones out there, and it's kind of hard to think about. It's like when someone asks you what your favorite movie is, and then you forget every movie you've ever seen in your life. Like,
oh yeah, right.
That's how my brain works.
Yeah. Oh golly, I don't even know. Right, because the ones. So I've got IW. Didn't play World War II. On BO4. Okay, so here's this. I have not done any of the Easter eggs on BO4.
That there's someone in the zombies community. He's a buddy of mine. His name's Afterlife. He's the biggest BO4 enjoyer. You just crushed his soul by saying that.
That's how you get people that are like, this girl's not real. No,
nah, it's all good.
It's the group, my group of friends. So I had met a Call of Duty clan. That is when I switched from Xbox to PC, and they were search and destroy snipers. So I was on multi, and they didn't really like zombies.
Sure.
I know 9. I made it the farthest. We almost beat it, I think. Yeah, there's so much that I have to do. But I think it's hard for me to step away from like current titles because I feel like there's always still stuff to be done there.
Yeah.
And I just need to make time. Okay, so and then I have Cold War, Van Don't.
Amen.
Right. And then Modern Warfare.
I guess MWC is a weird one because there's like they had quests, but they were like the one and done thing, to unlock the Dark Ether portal. You did that little quest of getting the items, but you can only do that once because then once you had the Dark Ether portal unlocked, it was just there for you. So that was
right.
curious.
When you do the little contracts inside the Dark Ether. Man, I don't know. That's hard.
I'd say I'm going back to BO6, like Terminus, I think is a good quest. I don't know how you feel about that. I think Terminus is a really good quest because to me, it's like almost the perfect blend of really good gameplay stuff. Like, you have the mid thing with the Nathan boss fight, right? Like that's kind of this mid break point in the middle of the Easter egg. It's a cool gameplay sequence. You have some like little puzzle stuff with like the math boards and the thing to get the beam smasher.
Yeah.
Then finding the code to open the thing. It's like it's got a really good blend of stuff that I really like as a quest. I think Terminus is a good one. It's not my favorite quest ever, but it's up there. It's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at BO6, I'd actually probably go with Citadel.
Okay, good. Yeah.
And I think because I like that there's a lot to do. And like I think you can either look at that 2 different ways, like, I have to do all these steps before I get to the boss fight, or like we have to do all of this. But I think I like the story. I like the idea behind the like honoring each of those knights.
Yeah.
With each of the swords, and like I feel like a lot of people, they're like, this is silly, why do we have to inspect, we can just skip it.
Sure.
But just like seeing that inspect for the first time and like giving them their respect, like I thought that was special. In a creepy castle. So that's probably my favorite one for Black Ops 6.
Yeah, Citadel is a good quest. I would agree with you. And I like again, it's like that feeling of there's always something like a little more than what you thought. Like when you open that secret room after like you're near the end of the quest, you go into that room with like the ghost guy, the spirit, the father or whatever. That stuff is really cool. I really enjoyed that part. And the boss fight's great. Like it's not really main quest, but the Guardian is, I think,
he's vicious when you're solo.
I think it's I think it's maybe my favorite fight in the game. Like,
really?
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I think it would be.
was hyped when they brought the Z-Rex.
The
I'm like,
Z-Rex is great,
a
yeah.
zombie dinosaur, let's go.
Have you done any
Which,
of the round 100 variants of the bosses?
no, I
Those are
haven't.
so cool. They're so cool.
Well, mainly because I don't want to embarrass myself and do them solo. And my friends are like, what?
It takes a
Like
while to get to run 102 co-op.
you know, and like my husband, we met on Call of Duty. We met on Modern Warfare 2019 and Search and Destroy, and so it's also fascinating because he's good at everything he plays. He's cracked at zombies, right? And you know, he just doesn't have that passion like I do. But I mean, BO6 was his first round base, you know.
Whoa.
And he played well. Because I think he played a little bit of BO3, but I think he was more on the multi
But
side.
didn't play it like that, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And so and even like chatting with him and like preparing him for what round base was going to look like, because his real big zombies experience was MWZ.
Sure.
That
Wow.
was his first one too. Yeah. I mean, but he's a sweat, right? Like we can't play multi together because
The SPMM goes crazy.
I just get shit on. Like, I'm pretty good, right? I got dark matter and ended with like a 1-2 KD. Like, I'm not bad. But then I get in his lobbies. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna uninstall if I don't leave this lobby. You know,
so good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Do you mostly so where can people find your content primarily? Are you mostly on TikTok? Are you on YouTube or Twitch mostly?
Yeah, so I stream on Twitch. I had to think. I stream on Twitch and TikTok every day, 7 p.m. Eastern. And most of my guides are on TikTok. So it's funny. I started with Cold War. I have no idea. I don't know. It was coming out and I was like, you know what? I should make a guide. And it was the weirdest thing. I literally made a video on how to open up Pack-a-Punch on D Machine.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so crazy. Cause like,
and it was on the screen, right?
Yeah.
And it's so funny, right? And TikTok's algorithm is right. The more that people engage, the better it does. I blew up. You know, I recognize my size, right? Even when we all met a couple weeks ago, I was like, I am the smallest content creator here. Right?
That's not even like a thing to me. Like, I don't even like think about that stuff. Like, audience size doesn't matter to me. Like, as a creator, I don't look at it like that. It's just you're someone. That's why I thought of you to come on the podcast, because like, you know, you're someone I met at the event, and I'm like, you know what? Like, she's really positive about zombies, and I'm like, I would like to have a conversation with her. And it's like, I don't care about like numbers and stuff like that. It's like, but anyways, to your point.
You guys were so awesome, so validating, right? And I literally said, I'm like, your favorite zombies YouTuber, fucking epic. I was like, they were all so great. But yeah, I started making content on TikTok. That video got 1.6 million views.
Ew, that's crazy to me.
You know, and so like for me it was like, okay, how do I tell this story and how do I make it as easy as possible? Because I was even like, how many times do you look up a guide and someone will be like, it's right here. And then you're like, let me compare the surroundings. What the is here? Like, where is that? Is that a window? Is that
really
a
sloppy
ledge?
guides that are I know what you mean totally. No, I have the same thing. So funny, not to derail what you were saying, but I have a second channel that I made like way back in the day. I was getting really into like Star Wars Battlefront back in like 2017. I made a whole channel for Battlefront. That channel has gone through like many iterations. But what has been more recently is like Dark Souls guides of like how to get to certain bosses, because sometimes when I'm replaying an older game, I'm like, I don't remember how to get back to this boss. And so I look up a guide, and then the guide I watch is awful. And I'm like, let me make a better one real quick. Like, let me just do this. So I'll make and they do pretty good.
And I think like, and that's something that I've always like kind of doubted myself on content, because like it is kind of a rush to get your content out there. And sometimes I'd be like, well, you know what? This information is already out there. Like, should I? But I mean, we all have those community members who are like, we're not watching anybody else's but yours. Right. And it's funny. I'm working on trying to get to YouTube, and it's funny because there was kind of a lot of flack after the grief event because not a lot of people like knew why a bunch of us ladies were there. And someone there was a bunch of discourse, like people trolling me on Twitter, and like I have plenty of confidence. I'm a grown woman. I don't care what they say, right? And this guy was like, who even are you? Like, your YouTube channel has 3K. And I'm like, and I was like, but my audience is on TikTok. He was
Mhm.
like, who watches videos on TikTok? And I'm like, okay, boomer. Like, what?
Apparently a lot of people do.
Yeah, so
I think I'm bummed because like I got invited to that event, but I was traveling, so I couldn't go.
oh,
I would have
okay.
loved to be there, and I think like having more
Yeah.
zombie YouTubers would have lessened, or like if there was a balance of like, oh, there are some classic zombie guys there, but I don't think most people would have had a problem with you or anyone else being
Yeah.
there. I think it's silly that they did to begin with, but it's like
Yeah.
I'm bummed that I missed that event because it seemed cool, but
It was a lot of fun, and like I think for me it was so validating as a zombies player because and I think a lot of people try, like a lot of people rip on Activision and Treyarch. I get it, but when you've had the opportunity to meet the people behind the games, like it changes your perspective. Um and like that experience was so validating for me in my career. And I'm like, they know who I am. Like, this is crazy, And like someone would come up to me and they're like, hey, mama, like, can you come over here? And I'm like, you know who I am? Like, and it's, and I think it's so important. And like a big part of what I try to do as well is to get more women in the community. And because there's not a lot of us, right? And we're just playing zombies, bro. Like, let's just have fun.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's been great, and so I'm looking forward to BO7, and I hope it's good. I mean, I don't know. I always find something out of it,
Yeah, so
But
it's like I think it's a pretty safe bet given that I like BO6 gameplay for the most part. Like it's
yeah,
my favorite of the modern era. Let's say like Cold War and on. BO6 is by far my favorite game out of those selections. And I have no doubt
yeah,
BO7 will be just as good, if not better.
right.
So
And
I'm looking forward to it too.
yeah, I hope they give us a lot of content, and like something I put in my feedback too is like keep giving us those events. Like I love all the events that they do for the Gobblegums and like the starting room, and I mean, I don't
Starting
know.
room
I feel
challenge
like
was great. Like and
yeah.
that's why I not to get off on this tangent again, but that's why I said like a survival mode can work for them. Like they can make it fun. The because it was so like about resource management again. You actually felt like really vulnerable. You didn't have access to the whole map or all this stuff. It's like you really had to like lock in and play well. And I like that.
Right.
I like that feeling a lot when my skills as a player is really being like stretched to the limit. And I feel like
Mhm.
I'm having to play my best to really make it. That's why I love like Elden
Mhm.
Ring and Dark Souls, because like those games will stretch your skill as a
Yeah.
player, and it's like that feels good
Right.
to me. So I
Yeah.
I hope they do more of that stuff. Like that would be wonderful.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see survival and how everything plays out
Hmm.
and what's past Ashes of the Dam. But yeah, I'm excited. I hope more people give it a chance. But I've just told folks like if you like BO6, I think you're gonna like BO7, and
Agreed.
there's gonna be a lot of nods to BO2, and so I gotta do my homework.
You
I gotta
got to
go hop on
go load up
transit.
Transit right after this podcast.
It's so bad. Yeah, we will not be streaming that.
That's crazy. All right. Well,
Yeah.
anyways, Mama K, I'll have all your stuff linked in the description. Guys, y'all can go check her out. She'll be linked down below. Thank you so much for being our guest on the show, episode 42. It was a really good one.
Let's go. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. That was super awesome. A lot of
Anyways,
fun.
guys, make sure y'all leave a like on the video, all that good stuff. Go check her out. And I'll have everything down below over there. But that is going to be it for episode 42. Thank you so much, Mama K. Appreciate you coming on. And we'll see you guys later. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.